So, last time we finished the session, you have returned to your makeshift camp after dealing with a goblin tribe and exterminating Gugrok, the cursed hook. And despite the fight being quite difficult and being dropped down, you bear the gift of immortality, and you have made it out with quite a large haul. However, it is worth remembering that, at least for now, considering your situation, there's not really functioning economy at this moment, nor you have anyone that could use their skills at artifice or crafting to change all of that equipment into better materials so that it may be used to upgrade your own weapons or something like that. But that might be coming, as you are informed that the ship to your west that you didn't go to investigate because you picked the east route, the NPCs from the other team, Hruk and Goldbane, investigated west, and they found a shipwreck that apparently one of the command team squad was traveling in that ship, and that is was named as a head crafter, Ulfgar. And you were also informed by them and Greenstalker that Ulfgar is apparently kept in a kobold stronghold, and from what information was gathered, it seems like you would definitely need a little bit more manpower before making this assault, as the stronghold deserves its name. There is no mention of traps, but you can imagine if these kobolds are not too different from the ones that exist from the parts of the world that you come from, then you can probably expect various traps. Even if they won't be lethal to you, they can pose a challenge obstacle that will slow you down or make you known in case you will be trying to stealth your way through. So I believe last time it was decided that you will be making your way there, kinda to conduct additional reconnaissance and maybe figure out how you will be able to enter this place, or maybe just generally gather information. And I believe you'll be moving out just before the dawn, as the first glint of sunlight. Actually, maybe not first glint of sunlight, because the horizon is covered by a storm wall. But generally, you get the feeling when the day begins, and probably exchanging watches between the other guards and other members of the Wanderers Guild. You have rest after first very long day of crash landing or being shipwrecked on this new island. So if you are missing your hit points, you basically restore them. Basically, you get benefits of rest if you didn't do that before. And just to confirm, do you want to do anything else at the camp or talk with anyone between yourselves, or should we just begin with your journey?
Quick question about the animal bane arrows. Are they built for small-sized bows, or can they be used with a normal-sized bow?
I was thinking about that, and honestly, I'm kind of not sure, because the weapon itself is small, but I don't know how that goes for the ammunition.
I think in rules, ammunition doesn't have a spot size per se like that, and you could always just swap out the arrowheads, because that's probably what's actually enchanted.
Yeah, probably that.
Because like, if we're being really technical about it, you'd want different arrows between short bows and long bows as well.
Hmm.
Maybe
So do you guys?
And Pathfinder doesn't even get that technical.
So
We
do you
must-
guys want me to scout ahead and basically inspect this little cobble village before we start?
I mean, that was the plan.
Yeah, you can just go ahead.
Right.
to be fair, A, that's not a small cobbled village, and B, that's not that short distance away. This is gonna be a travel of at least several hours. But I understand that you go as a group, but Cheryuk is at the front, being the scout.
Yeah.
And paving the way. All right, very well. And also, two technical things. One, does anyone takes anything from the loot? And second thing, should I give you guys like ability to edit that handout? So that we might track like what's being taken.
I mean, I was going to take some of the animal bane arrows.
I mean, that's
like
probably a good idea.
20 of them.
Yeah, I'll take that +1 longsword. And I'll take a silver dagger too.
Let's see, is there anything here I want?
Let's have a look.
We should probably all take a silver dagger.
Yeah, agreed.
Special
We
materials.
all take one silver dagger and 1 +1 longsword.
I mean, yeah, we should probably also have a +1 longsword.
Oh Jesus Christ! Yeah, let's grab that.
No, there's a cheap wig in there.
Uh,
I'm gonna take 3 firework.
Just
I don't need.
I think it will be easier for me to track this if you like write it down, because people just throwing stuff what they are taking, I won't
Yes,
be able to track it.
the reason to take the longsword and the silver dagger is for weapon type options. Like if there are like some maces or hammers there, it's just to take that too. But basically, like you now have a magic item, you now have a silver weapon kind of idea.
Yeah.
I already have a magic item, so I suppose I'll take a dagger. Alright, how many daggers are there in here?
7.
Mm-hmm.
Like I plan on getting a cold iron dagger when we get the chance, because I forgot about that.
So we take 5 daggers totals.
I'm taking one of the swords.
Okay, just write it down in the chat so he can just take it out. Well, I said 5 daggers for everyone, but alright.
I'm seeing what I actually could use.
Like, you can still use the sword and dagger, so you should take them in case you come up against something that is.
Basically, I said that we take 5 silver daggers from the loot, so everyone gets a silver dagger.
I was just explaining to Az again why you'd want them.
Oh, I know. I was seeing if I can actually use a short bow or not with my characters. Because if I'm not, changed, I'm very quite useless.
I would probably take one if they weren't small.
I would
I
not.
just-
I have no decks.
Like,
Ah,
I
the
don't
chain
need a
shirt
direct
actually.
ranged option.
Yeah.
The chain shirt's actually really good on me, what the hell? I get 18 AC just from it.
Jesus.
Or, we could just feet into Veiled Moon and get the one that lets us teleport up to people.
Yeah, you'd have to. Yeah, one of the. What is it? One of the. I mean, I'll be able to teleport to people eventually. Yeah. No, in fact,
Veiled Moon, pick up the stance that lets us teleport 30 feet.
yeah. I think one of my maneuvers. I think one of the Eternal Guardian maneuvers allows me to start teleporting to people, which is pretty neat.
What's
So I'm thinking everyone takes 1 +1 longsword.
Yep.
I don't think everyone is.
No, I'm not. I have a +1 weapon, so yeah. So basically, who takes a +1 longsword? Right.
1, 2, 3.
Me.
3 for now.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Just take the rest for throwing.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I'll take one potion of jump as well.
Alright. When I level up, I'll be able to use a bow.
Pull a Martin, keep all of our weapons until we get telekinesis.
Hmm.
Yeah.
To
Right.
confirm,
I think
Simon,
that's
you are
everything out there.
to confirm, Simon, you are taking 20 animal bane arrows because there's 50 in total. Just
I
saying.
don't think I'm going to need them right now.
I mean, you can still take them and just have them in your inventory list.
Alright.
Because I think what is effectively what's not taken is probably going to be effectively sold to the Eternal Wanderers.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, then I'll
Sold
take
air
50.
quotes because essentially this will be
Yes.
like churned into resources to
Yes.
the crafter.
Sold air quotes as they will owe us such and such gold. We'll go to the crafter and be like, we're going to spend this much to get this made.
I mean, I essentially imagine him that he essentially takes all the valuable stuff and he uses his like lovely magic stuff that he basically destroys, atomizes these items, and using the value of the item, and he turns this into like another item.
There's
so-
rules. I don't know. I don't think it's Pathfinder Paizo specific, but I know there's rules for doing that somewhere.
They kind of built that NPC specifically to be like a crafter with like valet, fuck, the animal,
Familiar, yeah.
not familiar, and like all the feats for crafting.
It goes a bit slower, but one of the best crafters is actually a half-elf. Because once they make themselves enough pearls of power, they can cast a spell that gives them a feat. And they can just like give themselves a crafting feat for the day. So like, they only get one, so they'll still want to pick up ones so they can meet the prereqs for other ones. But you can like say pick up craft puppet and meet the prereqs for craft construct. And not have to spend 2 feats to get wondrous item and arms and armor.
Okay, potion of reduce
I guess you would also need wondrous items anyways though to make the pearls of power.
potion of
Who's
jump,
blowing in their mic?
No, that's just me fanning.
masterwork, change shirt.
Yeah, I figured I might as well get that potion just in case I'm in an area where I'm too big when I'm large.
I mean, you could just end the effect. I think. Is it a large person dismissed?
I don't remember. I'm actually going to check that up.
Or could we just wait for it to wear off since it doesn't last that long?
Well, yeah, it is dismissible. It's got the D, so. Alright.
But it's still useful. And are you truly a person?
No, not really. I can become a little hog.
Masterwork and axe. That's
Yeah, so I can actually use that.
Thailand 4, 2 minus 36.
Actually, let me check.
Okay, that. Yeah, I believe I updated everything, and obviously, fucking value is. I'm not gonna be bothering with freaking math on changing total value because fuck that. Something's been taken from this. I'm like.
Hmm?
Nope.
Oh, yeah, by the way, before we leave off, I guess Jurek would try to analyze the weird winter rose that he picked up.
Okay.
And see if anybody else recognizes it.
Morza and Goldbane are, even though they are not specifically trained in that, and this is not their field of specialty, as outsiders themselves, they raise an eyebrow at this, and they both state that this is a thing that, yeah, that shouldn't be possible for this to grow on the material plane. This is specifically a plant that it should only be able to grow and survive in the... Oh my god, there's some elemental plane of ice, or is it like falls underwater? Or rather, maybe they wouldn't go to that specifically. They just say like, yeah, this is a thing that should not be able to exist in the material plane.
Oh, tough. I found it growing in the material plane. I don't know what to tell you.
Morza... Goldbane just... add it to the long list, mate. Why Morza is... I see... Intriguing. But currently I doubt we have more answers to give you.
Well...
Yeah, and Frog just like, yeah, just be on the lookout, be brain!
Alright. Think so. If we come across any more flora that should not be able to grow here, we at least know that we shouldn't be too... well, it shouldn't be too surprising. Who knows what rules this island falls into.
Goldbane, kinda, as he's sitting near the fire, he like leans a little bit back and kinda lazily takes a swing out of a bottle, and he says, well, considering what happened since the start, I'd say that don't worry about it too much. This won't be the weirdest thing that we'll find here, I think.
Well, just hope the surprises won't be as hazardous as the goblins would.
Here, here.
But I believe we should get going soon.
Yeah, Hruk kinda jokingly as you're like beginning to leave. Yeah, just don't die! It's not hard! Kinda like, you know, he's not like saying seriously, it's like a job. Or banter. Okay, after dealing with your loot, I believe I'm gonna gather up your tokens. I believe you'll be beginning to make your way. Copy. So now I'm gonna put you guys yeah, on this. Okay, the question is, are you planning to take a look just to confirm how that Are you taking a road to check on that shipwreck to the west along the way? You know, the ship that command squad was... The head crafter was in.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Axar saw it, but, you know, perhaps situation... Who knows, maybe something has changed. Maybe not. Hard to say. Okay. As this is along the generally along the coast, and you already have some experience with traversing the island, I would say that this portion of the journey does not require a check. And about hour and a half to 2 hours later, you find yourselves standing alongside a rocky portion of the beach, kind of like a cliffside overlooking the large, somewhat intact but obviously not in an ideal condition shipwreck that's stranded on the shallow waters. And to imagine that, yeah, apart from the size, that this most likely implies that this was a ship that, you know, someone important was traveling in, as someone from the command squad. And you see that, yeah, also the ship, the fact that it managed to survive the storm and the attacking creatures, despite its vast damages, it definitely gives, fuck, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a sign of the skill of the shipbuilders, and probably some magical enchantment that was sadly used up during the combat. And just to confirm, as you're like taking a look around, even though some tracks have been a little bit like maybe the waves were slightly bigger and higher, so some of the tracks and marks of combat were washed. Maybe there was like a higher wind in other places, but because you know what you're looking for, you do manage to confirm that yes, there are some scorch marks and basically trunks indicating like a snake-like body, and considering what you were already told, then yes, you can confirm that probably yeah, the kobolds have pyrohydra, or maybe even two of them at their disposal. Which, considering, I don't remember. Were you making knowledge checks to figure out what do you know about pyrohydra?
Don't we
I believe it's a
made one for pyrohydras? Or what?
Like, what kind of check would it be, or?
If you didn't do it before, let me...
I'm going to guess that it's Arcana, because they're likely magical beasts.
Yes, indeed, they are magical beasts. Obviously, I didn't put you on that.
Well, the map.
What craftsmanship?
Anyone else wants to make a roll?
Yeah, I can do. Original corner. I've been rolling like arse for the past since fucking yesterday. What the fuck?
Yeah, looking at your chat for Final Fantasy is like a treat, trying to figure out what was going on. Like, did someone died?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh boy.
They fail to save by 1.
Oof. That's the worst.
You know
Sure.
that. You know that is Simon.
Mm.
Karma.
Are you still salty over Rip Nuggets?
I'm not sorry. No, it's just funny. I failed a coup de grace save by 1.
It's
Um,
It's.
I'm not sorry. No, it's just failed a coup de grace save by 1. I'm not sorry. No, it's just failed a coup de grace save by 1. I'm not sorry. No, it's just failed a coup de grace save by 1. I'm not sorry. No, it's just failed a coup de grace save by 1. and the damage that the coup de grace did wouldn't have actually killed my character outright if I hadn't failed to save. There's the context of that, by the way.
Alright.
Yeah.
So with 115. Yeah, because this is, on one hand, this is not particularly common creature, and on the other hand, this is not such a unique creature. So I'm gonna say...
It's usually, I think, 10 plus CR.
I mean, monster lore is like, if there's common monsters, it's 5 plus CR. For unique, rare, it's 15
Okay.
plus CR. In this case, ooh, sadly, 5-headed Pyrohydra is CR6. So 15. So it will be just not enough. I mean, I'm gonna say this is, I will not confirm it, but you might suspect, or maybe this is like faint recall that you guess because it's called Pyrohydra, then it probably has access to fire. And it probably might have breath weapon. But sadly,
Because that's all heard about it.
But sadly,
Mhm.
yeah, maybe it wasn't like you're... Yeah, for whatever reason, you cannot recall more information right now. Okay. However, apart from that, you do not see any new tracks. You do not see that if something has significantly changed at this shipwreck site. So, if you want to, you may continue your journey. And in this case, you will have to like begin your trek deeper into the island.
All right.
And from what was
So
mentioned,
survival
Well, what
check.
do we?
March.
that portion will take several hours. And also, one important thing to note is that actually, I mean, you did exchange some information, and Greenstalker and others, they were like trying to give us some basic info to basically some sort of like rudimentary map of the area, so it might be slightly easier to basically journey around. And now for this journey, here's how it's gonna go. One person and one person only, the one that's leading the group, which I believe in this case this will mean Cheryuk, will be making a survival check. However, before you roll, I won't be using regular tables for random encounters. However, I did prepare some potential stuff you might stumble your way across that, well, it will be perhaps plot relevant. And here's how it's gonna go. The DC for that survival check will be 20. If you pass it, there is still a roll for that random encounter. However, you begin it in an advantageous position. So, for example, you are not seen, you can essentially like observe the situation and gather information without risking your lives and resources.
Nice.
On the other hand, if you fail that check, I make 2d100 rolls, I pick the more interesting option for me, and how the encounter starts, it might not be as advantageous to you. Now, if anyone else wants to somehow, if they will figure out the way they can aid Cheryuk, they may make their own skill check. Might be survival, might be something else. If you can like explain it to me how that's gonna work. And your DC is also in this case actually let me double check, because I'm also DMing stars without numbers, and I don't want to mix up the rules for 8 actions, because it's
The regular DC is 10.
Yes. If you roll higher than 10 on a skill check, you get give a +2 bonus.
Yeah, 8 on other found.
That's the
okay,
normal
so
rules.
never mind. Never mind. So yeah, so for aiding, it's DC 10.
Right. So-
However, I'm gonna say in this case, mechanically, up to like the maximum amount of bonus you can get from aid from other people is +4. So if 2 people from the team already make make a check to aid you, then that's the maximum you can get.
Alright,
So
does anybody want to aid?
Yeah. So first, who wants to commit to an aid action?
Is this for, was it survival, did I hear?
Survival.
Yeah.
It might be it can be survival, like it's the most like common thing. However, if you have an idea how other skill might work and you can like sell me this idea, I am willing to listen to good arguments. But yeah, survival is like the most basic one.
Now hear me out. I'm going to say intimidate because I'm scaring away anything that'll attack us.
Oh no. Okay, I'm on a survival to assist. I assist, just about.
Just barely. I do believe Zillow has a survival as well, because I remember him making checks in the previous sessions, and I would guess that he would also be willing to help you. And because he's away, I'm gonna make a check for him. Let's see, does he have it? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's the maximum amount of aid you can get. So you get +4 bonus from the aid of others for your survival check, Cheruk.
Right, so that is a survival check of the roll 20, load up the roll.
I mean, you can make just like from your sheet, just click it and then we're gonna add +4
No,
to
no.
your...
Yeah,
That's
what I would.
It's just roll 20 takes a while.
Yeah.
Mm.
Right, so
that's-
11 plus 1 because I got a machete, 2 because of the glass feature, so that's 14, and plus 4 from the other, so that's 18 survival.
Okay, as I mentioned, the DC for that was 20. So, actually, do you guys want to roll the 100 or should I roll it? And also,
You roll it.
I switched it a little bit because I know that in Pathfinder, regular Pathfinder, the bigger the roll for random encounter, the worse it is. In my case, the lower the roll, the more dangerous situation it will be. Potentially dangerous, I should say. Okay, so I'm gonna just roll twice to see. Ah, okay. Not that bad.
Exactly average. Mm-hmm.
Session bullet points. So let's see. 83. Huh. Okay. I'm not gonna pick 51 because 51 that was literally nothing unusual happens. So I'm gonna pick the actually higher option. But sometimes that's the way cookie crumbles. For me, I guess. Okay, so these guys are higher. So 1, 2. Okay. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's see. 4. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this will be interesting. Okay. Cheruk, as we are leading the team, through the thick, lush jungle, you try to adhere to the best of your ability to the tracks you see, to what you have learned and what you've known from the others. However, you already have this feeling that there's something about this island that sometimes, even if you traveled this path once, it still might surprise you in a way. And on the other hand, this is technically the first time you are traveling here, even though you have previous information. So you believe you are making a good progress, and after a moment, not after a moment, but like, let's say halfway through your journey towards the objective, as where you believe the stronghold itself is, there is like a thicker patch of greenery that kind of obscures vision, so you have to like hack it with your machete and like go like pull it aside, hack some more. Basically, for a moment it like begins to be really thick, and suddenly like this is like still the best possible route according to your like abilities and skills. And after you hack your way through, there is a small you come out to a small clearing that's kinda, even though it's a day, it's kinda slightly dimmed because the oh fuck, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically the forest roof, it's, if that's the word I'm looking for, there's so much growth, overgrowth, that it kind of covers the sky. And as you get your bearings and look around, you believe you have stumbled upon some sort of like a very primitive cemetery, graveyard. And you only guess that because obviously there's no stone markings, but there are like small mounds of dirt, of dirt. They're like very basic, and more often than not, kinda torn to pieces, small markings of the fallen. It doesn't look new, it kinda looks old, so it's very hard. I would say it's impossible to figure out for sure whom exactly used that. If there are like, for example, goblins being buried here or not, you would have to like spend more time to actually dig up the graves. However, you do not see anything new for now, so you can like continue, and then as you like go around another corner of like greener bushes and greenery, you suddenly find yourself and others, as initially I would imagine initially they were like all clear, like there's no signs of combat, so they're like following you. You find yourself in standing in like a following scene that you see several rotting, decayed bodies, some mounds that seem to be torn open from the inside, as in the bodies have risen up, and and they are fallen, they are cut to pieces, their decaying forms are being struck down, and it seems like this was very recent, as in the middle of this, I'm not sure if the carnage is the right word, but this cleanup, you see a tall, imposing figure clad in a heavy black armor.
Do you notice us?
That's, yeah, concerning the survival roll, it's like as you like make a turn around and you like there's like a snap of a twig underneath your feet, and that figure, not slowly, I mean not swiftly, but with enough swiftness to like turn around, with one hand on the pommel of its massive blade, and this is who you see. And if you wish, you and others who will be approaching and seeing the same thing, you may make a perception and or knowledge religion checks.
Knowledge. What was that? Sorry.
Knowledge
Religion.
religion.
Knowledge religion.
Actually, I'm just gonna double check. Yeah, religion works.
If you kill me 1 moment, I'll be right back.
Malgarius, the Hollow God. Religion.
Yes, 6, 8 is not enough, 7 not enough. Other checks should give something. And also, if you want, you can make a base intelligence check to see if you can, if maybe you like remember something. If perhaps you saw him once before. However, the DC for that intelligence check is gonna be 15.
Oh dear. The 1 in 4 chance. Oh,
That works.
it certainly does.
Jesus.
Apparently Success knows this guy.
But can we actually trust him, or is he boasting?
Okay, so first let's deal with the perception and religion checks. So with perception, you are able to see that as he's moving, you have seen some people using heavy armors in their lives, and depending on their level of training, sometimes they are like more or less sluggish, and it takes some time to get used to this armor. Yeah, this one is also in very heavy, plate heavy armor, but there is some weightlessness to how he's moving. Almost getting a feeling like the person and the armor are one and the same. And additionally, with the perception checks, as you peer at the helmet to maybe try to figure out if you can see the eyes, you believe there's in terms of physical matter, there is nothing in the helmet. You don't see the eyes, and with that religion checks, I would say that probably you maybe have heard that there's apparently a spell of some sorts, but even if it doesn't exist in Pathfinder canon thing. Yeah, so long story short, with that religion and with the stuff you are seeing, you're getting a feeling that this is an animated armor. And as you turned around and with emotionless and hollow voice speaks, "Hail, who goes there?" And as he speaks, to get back to that nat 20 on that intelligence check, it didn't trigger your memory at first, and it's understandable because this is a team member that they usually don't show that often, and when you were gathering up at the docks before the start of your journey, They already probably like kept to themselves and like already boarded one of the ships, so they were like keeping out of sight. However, you do recall that, unless you are mistaken, but you do not believe you are, you do not know that many animated armors, that this one is called Malgarius, and he belongs to a team that's colloquially called Ghostbusters, as they essentially call themselves within the Wanderers Guild. And like their specialization is generally dealing with the undead of all kinds. And I would say that with Nat 20, I would even say that you do recall a story about them. That the group became somewhat known, or at the very least their names popped, like they were mentioned for a brief period of time more often than not. That apparently several, like many years before the expedition, about 25, the Azure Empire, which is a polity that survived to this day, still clinging to their like Oriental traditional like culture. They're dealing with an event that was called the Scourge of that was later dubbed the Scourge of Azure Empire, in which they were dealing with a huge undead problem, or rather, that was then revealed that it was like a bunch of wannabe necromancers and other nefarious evildoers that were raising up undead creatures wherever possible, and they were one of the groups that partook in that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the general gist of it. And yeah, and he, as he said, that halt, who goes there?
Why success? Great as the prince of Yoro Moonlight, master of the blade and of all things sharp. Glories and all. Anyway.
I am known as Azrak. Yourself?
There's a moment of silence as the being in front of you gouges your strength.
Gauges.
Gauges your strength. And gives a slow nod. For him, seeing that you are not undead is already good enough in his books. And one more thing, because I'm misremembering that. Do you keep, like, because every member of the Wanderers Guild has some sort of symbol that identifies him as the member of the guild. Some are keeping it on their person, so it's like visible, others are like keeping it hidden, it just depends. So does any one of you would have like a symbol, something that identifies you as a member of the Wanderers Guild that's clearly visible, or not really?
Probably a brooch from where my character's cloak would connect to.
Yeah,
I probably
same here.
Success
have it
does
on
not
one
have
of
it
my
on
shoulder
him.
pads of my armor.
Success has a pin in his backpack.
I guess mine will be a part of my notebook.
Right? And to answer Azrak's question, I am Malgarius. I do not recall your faces, but I see the symbol. And then he kinda adjusts the grip on his sword, and as you like squinting closer, you can see that on the pommel of the sword there's the symbol of the guild being inscribed into it.
But guild hires animated armors.
Well, let us join.
Do we recognize his name as somebody from the guild? Or was the sword belonging to one of the guild members?
Actually, now that you know more information, you can make me. You have two options: either like those who didn't do it already, so either intelligence checks or knowledge history.
Didn't my intelligence check earlier tell me anything?
It told you what
Oh.
I told you, so
Understandable.
so you can go for knowledge history.
Oh, knowledge history? Fucking bollocks!
I mean, get the bad rolls out of the way for now. So first,
It never ends!
Oh well. Natural one. I'll be right back.
There's another one.
It continues.
Well,
So
probably better get the.
Yeah, Matt probably doesn't know this, but I'm doing a new workout routine. Every time I get a natural one, I do 10 sit-ups.
I mean, I saw it that you posted the picture on the chat, but I wasn't sure that you decided to go for it. I mean, that's nice. Okay, so for whatever reason, Zilol, perhaps, maybe... Actually, I mean, it makes sense, considering what is your objective and what were your interests. That history actually, maybe for whatever reason, resounded with you and you like took an interest to it, and that's why you remember it. Because essentially what happened, from what you've managed to learn or you heard in the past, is that Malgerius, at first, he wasn't animated armor. He was a knight. An actually landed knight, a noble, that decided to use his... a virtuous one. He essentially decided to use his abilities, his martial prowess, and some measure of riches that he possessed due to his life, and he decided to fight a good fight. And join the guild. And a small reminder, joining the guild doesn't automatically mean you are immediately granted immortality.
Oh no, we know that.
There is still some like probation period. Sometimes there are those who simply wish to help and be in the guild and they are fine with dying because they like accept death as a like natural end. They're just fine with like final rest.
I choose mortality because of religious beliefs.
Malgerius, what happened to him is that before he was anointed, before he was blessed by the gift, and here the records slightly differ or they are not as clear. The only thing that's certain is that Malgerius basically stayed behind. There was some sort of mission that went wrong, and he was, at the time, he was like most experienced, and he felt responsible for the other recruits, cadets, so he essentially stayed behind to buy them time and essentially sacrifice himself. And now, because everyone else left, they were running away from that situation because otherwise they would have died. There are no witnesses to what happened to him exactly. The only thing that's certain is that the guild was certain that he perished. And one night, during particularly nasty weather, Malgerius returned. However, not as a living person, but as a suit of armor. He usually fought in a heavy plate. However, the armor that he returned with, it was the same one, but the color has changed to a menacingly black one.
At least he's not a grave knight.
And I should probably mention this, like, for clarity's sake. While some of the NPCs I made, they do have character sheets that I made in PCGen. Some NPCs I had like a fluff concept idea, and I just didn't wanted to waste time figuring out how they would work mechanically, and the Ghostbusters teams and including Malgarius are just one of such.
I mean, that's understandable. You don't have to make a picture for all of them.
Plus, I had trouble figuring out how would I even build like an animated armor guy the way I wanted. Just didn't want to waste time.
Yeah. Like, you can always just make a normal character and flavor it if you really want to make it, or just don't.
Yeah, as I said, most of the NPCs are like resources anyway, so... As I mentioned at the very start of the campaign, how I want to handle them. Okay, so Zero, that's what you know. Anyone else? Sadly, nothing rings a bell, really.
Because only one of us actually reads things and remembers.
Hey, shut the fuck up.
I try, but I roll like shit, so...
Is this like procrastination showing up?
You bastard.
Well,
I'm an orc. What's reading?
and books are just improvised weapons.
He reads battle and murder.
Reads the entrails of his enemies. They don't say very interesting.
Hey, don't
Well-
tempt me. I was considering making my human that can cast augury by cutting his stomach open, since we're immortal.
Wait,
The
what?
first question that
That would
The
have been an
first
interesting
question-
idea.
So, what it is trolls count as giants, which are humanoids. You can use racial heritage to count as a troll, and then pick up the, I forget the name of the feat, but it's a troll feat that lets you cut your stomach open and cast augury by looking at your entrails.
Okay.
That's
Yep.
interesting.
And it's for trolls, because, trolls won't die from that. A human that has troll blood can still die from that. It does 66 damage to you.
The first thing that GM asks, you stab yourself in the stomach, read it to the rest of the party. We should enter the door and then collapse down dead. Anyway,
Okay.
success. Looks him up and down. What you doing? What are you doing here? Looking?
I am
Looks not very-
I'm trying to find my companions. We were separated during the attack, and I believe being shipwrecked. Alas, I lack abilities to properly guide myself through the wilderness. I just stumbled
When I
upon
come-
these these restless dead. I ensured their undead life has been terminated.
Well, you wanna come with us? We're going to look at some kobolds, and we know where the rest. Well, not all of them, but most. Not most. Some of them our friends are.
There's a moment of silence as he considers. Very well, I seem to lack other proper options. I will be following.
Don't remember required. All right.
He is
Well then.
not stealthy at fucking all, and he doesn't even bother.
I
good.
look around at the rest of our party. What a surprise! I wonder if our stealth is gonna increase from him. Actually.
Yes, he's not being stealthy. Next to the Orkin. medium armor and the half orc in heavy armor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just wanted to
Forward.
confirm.
Us
Do you
walking through the
excuse
forest
me
is
for a
giving
bit?
Cherrick a circumstance bonus.
Take a 5-minute break.
Sure, I'm fine with that.
Okay,
Alright.
we can make a break. So, yeah, 5 minutes.